Bickering between the leads are often entertaining to watch, and even character flaws only serve to make the drama more relatable. However, in some cases, the main characters are such shitty people that their behaviors may be a bit too much to accept. So in today's list, we are going to discuss 5 main characters that really cross the line, making them some of the biggest K-drama jerks. Number 1. Jung, Cheese in the Trap. For our first not quite honorable mention, let's tune in to the notorious male lead of Cheese in the Trap, shall we? At first sight, Jung was a pretty dreamy man. He's the heir to a big conglomerate, always generous with his friends, has perfect grades, and looks friendly enough that the entire school only has good words about him. However, beneath this perfect facade is a cunning person. And our female lead, Hong-sol, seems to have witnessed this firsthand. Right from the first episode, we can hear her narration, calling Jung a guy of shouldn't have. She shouldn't have met him that day, shouldn't have met him in her life. We can see how manipulative this character is as the series goes on. He cleverly pushed doubts away from him, letting others take the fall in his stead. He uses other people to make Sol's life miserable, without ever having to get his own hands dirty. Heck, he even turned a stalker onto Sol's path. And if that's not creepy enough, there's also an episode where there are minutes of footage of just him, lurking, monitoring, and watching Hong-sol from afar. Sure, Jung's demeanor is a result of his upbringing. The people around him keep sucking up to him for riches and connections. He had to suppress his emotions in front of his father, and always had the pressure of being perfect. However, a tragic past does not necessarily excuse his actions toward Sol. So while Jung works as a complex character, he would be a pretty big walking red flag in real life, or even a good K-drama villain had this not been a rom-com series. He even said it himself. His current state is just not fitting for relationships. Number 2. Lee-soo, More Than Friends. We can't talk about K-drama jerks without the main character of More Than Friends, and for totally good reasons. Like the title suggests, the series sets out to tell the story of 2 high school friends, Lee-soo and Kyung Woo-yeon, who keep tethering on the line of love and friendship. At first, Woo-yeon fell for Lee-soo, but her feelings were not returned. For 10 years, she keeps her feelings to herself until one day, she meets Lee-soo again. Soo's flippancy and aloofness might be a character trait, yet how he behaves is a matter of choice. The first few encounters after years apart is just not friend-like at all. Because why would you hold someone and look so deeply into their eyes when you clearly have no interest in them? As the series progresses, we keep seeing Woo-yeon trying to cross the friend stage, while Soo just looks dead and unreciprocated. It would have been decent if he just rejected her outright, but instead, he keeps her at an arm's length, getting both stuck in a relationship that goes nowhere. And yet, when Woo-yeon started to mingle with the sweet second male lead, Lee-soo is suddenly interested in her. He disregarded her dating status and started to pursue her in return. It didn't help that the second lead, Jun-soo, is like 10 times better. He's rich, mature, straightforward, and respects Woo-yeon's boundaries. And as episode 7 approaches, our tolerance for Lee-soo has reached the limits when he calls Jun-soo a freebie, despite knowing that Jun-soo and Woo-yeon are dating. This was such a petty and childish action, done because Lee-soo was jealous that he did not get the girl he never actually fought for. He disregarded Woo-yeon's feelings for years, only to turn on his tails when Woo-yeon was finally happy. Sure, he started to treat her better towards the end, but we can hardly get over how much of a jerk he has been, and mull over a caring Jun-soo that unfortunately didn't have plot armor. Number 3. Jun-pyo, Boys Over Flowers. Let's go for the classics this time, because Jun-pyo in Boys Over Flowers is unarguably the biggest jerk among Korea's many school-themed dramas. Aired way back in 2009, teens at the time used to fantasize about how charming, cool, and princely Jun-pyo was. But alas, times have changed. And looking back at the series as adults, the guy turns out to be a gigantic jerk, especially towards the female lead Jun-di. In particular, when Jun-di tried to speak up against him, he declared that she would now be the target of the entire school, and ever since had mercilessly taunted her, laughing at her dismay. Truth be told, Jun-pyo was probably written that way for character development purposes, as he went from cold, arrogant guy to more understanding boyfriend. It's hard to forgive his actions though, especially when he had pushed a person to the verge of suicide, and hired people to humiliate Jun-di. Even after he had fallen for the girl, he still thinks she needs to obey him, and tries to coerce Jun-di into loving him. We can't say Boys Over Flowers is a bad series, but over time, characters like Jun-pyo have fallen out of style, and probably for the better. Number 4. Jae-on. Nevertheless. As it ends, the recent series Nevertheless left us with a lot to ponder over. Compared to others, this drama claims to take a contemporary approach to romance, with a much more risque and mature theme. It clicks with modern and young adults, but still, we can't deny that the male lead, Jae-on, is a walking red flag. Our first sight of him shows us that Jae-on is an unapologetic playboy, always ready to flirt with girls and fall into bed with them for some good old fun. He's charming, knows how to make a girl feel special, and his butterfly tattoo is admittedly pretty sexy. Right from the first episode, he dumped his blind date for the female lead Nabi, and flirted with the waitress the same way he flirted with his new target. Further down the line, Jae-on grows to become extremely possessive. When Nabi attempts to go on a date with another guy, he casually asks her out, an action less from true feelings than at the spur of the moment. And surely it didn't help when we see that Jae-on can casually say he misses another girl after sharing an almost kiss. Of course though, as with every jerky K-drama male lead, the guy started to change. He fell for Nabi and reeled in his playboy nature. But seeing that the guy didn't hesitate to badmouth other girls that he had just been touchy with, I'd say I'm not brave enough to take the risk that Nabi does, no matter how handsome Song Kang is. Number 5. Bae Gyu-ri. Extracurricular. Enough of dissing K-drama male leads. How about we switch to the opposite gender this time around? As the female lead in the dark thriller drama series Extracurricular, it's safe to say that Bae Gyu-ri is a jerk for more concerning reasons. The first source of irritation is pretty average. She reacted to parental control like a spoiled child, and that's annoying but fine. Still, doing deliberate damages to yourself as a means of revenge is not exactly painting the best picture about mental health. It's understandable that Gyu-ri has issues. She's in pain, and projecting these feelings onto her parents is her outlet. But even then, she should have to deal with the consequences, and be at least somewhat apologetic, instead of going about like she's the center of the world. The terrible nature of Gyu-ri becomes even clearer when we put her into contrast with the male lead Jisoo, who's too poor and has to resort to illegal means to survive. She literally trashed Jisoo's place to find his phone, out of mere curiosity. And when she found out about Jisoo's second job, she basically blackmailed him to join the business, so that her boring, wealthy life could be less boring. But the shoe finally dropped when Gyu-ri made irreversible mistakes, and basically ruined all of Jisoo's hard work. The guy's business could have gone on as normal, and he technically wasn't hurting anyone until Gyu-ri came. Instead, they got into serious trouble, all because of someone's curiosity and tendency for recklessness. And that concludes today's video. Did you feel irked whenever these characters pop up on the screen? Are there any other main characters that feel like total jerks to you, and why? Let us know down below in the comment section. And if you want more videos like this, like, share, and subscribe to bbalidrama. We'll come back soon. See ya!